And just dropped my parents off at Logan Airport a couple of hours ago. So they're going to be on their way back to Slovakia on an Austrian Airlines flight. And I got this eBay package, technically, even though it's an envelope, from Hungary. So, check this out. I put these in chronological order. So first we have a 1960s ŠKODA 1200. I'm not sure what year this would be. I'm gonna say it's early 60s. It might be 50s actually, now that I think about it. This might be late 50s. But in any case, apparently this is an ambulance from Portugal. Most of these postcards are from this top card, Kado or whatever. So out of Hungary, I suppose. But anyway, so there you go. The next one is the this was the first sort of modern ŠKODA in terms of the push to modernize and make something different than the post-war stuff. So they were still rear drive, but they were actually rear engined. So that's pretty cool. Look at this girl in a bathing suit. This is awesome. So this is a 1969. This is a different postcard company. But, anyway, so these ŠKODAs were the first of the rear-engined air-cooled cars. So we had the trunk up front, or the frunk, as we refer to it nowadays. Here's another one. This one is a 64 ŠKODA 1000. No caret over the S. It's funny. ŠKODA with the caret. This looks like, is this Paris? Looks like it might be Paris. Oh, look at that Mercedes back there. Even though it's blurry, you can tell it's a Mercedes. Anyway, the later 1960s into the 70s cars, I forget the exact year, but this is a 74. So this is a 110. I'm not sure what LS stands for. I don't really know them all. I mean, I grew up in Czechoslovakia. I'm very familiar with these cars. They were everywhere, but I don't... As a kid, I was really good about knowing... I knew all the models and everything, but I didn't know what designations necessarily stood for. So here we have another 110. If you notice, this is a sort of deluxe one with the fog lights. Those were way cooler. I always liked the fog lights on these cars. This one's a 71. I always find them charming. And look at that Japanese style rear view mirror. That's pretty cool. Alright. Here we have another 110. Again with the deluxe nose. It's got the bumper guards, the fog lights, and look at the fuel door. It's even further forward than on a Porsche. Some ways you could say this was kind of the four-door Porsche in Czechoslovakia made. This one's a 71 as well. So S110. Maybe LS is the designation for the more luxury trim with the fog lights. Here we have a coupe. So these are 110Rs. I know what you're thinking. I mean, it's not exactly the sportiest thing. Kind of frumpy, obviously based on the four-door. I love these cars. I grew up with them. I know I'm biased. It is what it is. This is cool. This is actually a promotional postcard, it looks like. Or maybe it's I don't know if it's a reprint. In any case. It's certainly an ad or something from a brochure. We've got a coupe here. Probably trying to market it to the West. Somewhere in the Czech Republic, I'm assuming. Look at that. If this lady's even alive, she's in her 80s minimum. Oh, 1970, so yeah. If she's 20 in this photo, then 2025, what would that make her? 75. Anyway, I think about that kind of stuff. So then we've got this one. I think all the coupes got the fog light treatment. I've never seen a coupe without the inner headlights, the little fog lights. That's a flattering photo. Now we have one more yellow one. Look at that. Look at this young couple. Isn't that cool? Once again, those Japanese style mirrors. Look at them emulating Fuchs wheels. Oh man. You gotta love it. 1970. Alright, so now we got the rally car. And look at that. I'm a liar. Because this one doesn't have the... Well, it's because it has all the running lights and fog lights. Anyway, this is a 130 RS Rally. They were fairly successful in the... They campaigned a bunch of cars, ŠKODA did, in the 70s and 80s, and they did pretty well in the rally racing. This is the more famous paint job, I feel like, at least from what I remember. They go for big money on eBay if you can find the 1/24 scale. Or actually, I think it's a 1/18 scale. In any case, you got the tape on the headlights. Classic. Look at that, we got the tow hook up front. Ooh, Goodyear, Castrol. I mean, holy cow. Anyway, then we've got this famous thing. So that 130 LR from the 1980s with the Euro headlights. Well, I mean, it's silly to call them Euro headlights, I guess. The modern flush headlights. And surprising ŠKODA right on the windshield header. ŠKODA wanted to, I guess, do something front-wheel drive and more modern, but they stuck with these cars because of communism and, you know, that there was no money for development. But I mean, that would have been boring. I love these cars. I love the fact that they made them, you know, in that old-timey tradition of... Look at these rims. Holy cow. I don't know if I've ever seen those before. My uncle had one of these, and I remember... He's a doctor now. He had a car exactly like this, in this exact burnt orange, whatever you want to call this. And, I mean, it could be this car. Probably not, but it could technically be this car. And the funny thing about it was that I remember when he bought it, and he was very proud and excited, and I was, you know, the car nerd in the family. You know, even as a little kid, I was obsessed with cars. And I was disappointed that he got the round headlight one, because those were the modern ones. The rectangular headlights were all the rage. The round ones were out in the early 80s. That was old and outdated. Now as an adult, I hate anything rectangular light that used to be round headlight. I love round, nice big round headlights, a classic. BMWs, Mercedes, Porsche, everything, even pop-up headlights. I prefer when they emerge from their hiding spot with a nice round lamp. And it is the most practical shape, and it throws light better than any other shape. There's no other shape that's better than round, obviously. That is the most efficient and best setup to have. My Jeep Renegade was a great example of that. Awesome headlights on that little Jeep. Anyway, so there you go. That's a bunch of postcards off of eBay. There you go.